Have you ever judged someone too quickly, only to find out you are completely wrong? Get ready for a story that will make you rethink everything. This is the story of the wealthy Miller family and their beloved nanny, Clara. For 5 years, Clara wasn't just an employee. She was family. She cared for their son, Leo, as if he were her own. Every morning started with her warm smile, and every evening ended with her gentle bedtime stories. Leo adored her, and Mr. and Mrs. Miller trusted her completely. Their home was a picture of perfect harmony. But one day, that picture shattered into a million pieces. It all started with a missing necklace. Not just any necklace, but Mrs. Miller's heirloom diamond necklace, a piece that had been in her family for generations. It was priceless, both in value and sentiment. She had worn it to a gala the night before and was certain she had placed it back in her jewelry box. Now, it was gone. Panic set in. Mrs. Miller searched frantically, her anxiety growing with every empty drawer and upturned cushion. Mr. Miller joined the search, and as they retraced their steps, a terrible suspicion began to form. The only other person who had been in the master suite that morning was Clara, who had come in to wake Leo. They had trusted her implicitly, given her access to every part of their home. Could she have betrayed that trust so profoundly? The thought was sickening. But as they searched, no other explanation seemed to make sense. When they confronted Clara, her face was a mask of disbelief. "I would never," she stammered, her eyes wide with shock and hurt. She pleaded with them, her voice trembling, reminding them of the 5 years she had dedicated to their family. She loved Leo. She respected them, but the Millers, blinded by the value of the missing necklace and the seemingly undeniable logic of the situation, couldn't see past their suspicion. The trust that had taken years to build evaporated in an instant. Without another word, without a moment of hesitation, they fired her. They told her to pack her things and leave immediately. Clara left in tears, her world turned upside down. The family she loved now looking at her as a common thief. The house felt cold and empty without Clara. A new nanny was hired, a stern woman named Ms. Agatha, but she was no substitute. The laughter was gone. Leo, who had been a bright, bubbly child, became quiet and withdrawn. He would ask for Clara every day, his little face filled with confusion. "Where's Clara? When is she coming back?" His parents would offer vague, uncomfortable answers, telling him Clara had to go away. But Leo knew something was wrong. The warmth of his home had been replaced by a chilling silence. He missed his best friend. Weeks turned into a month, and the silence in the house only grew deeper. Leo rarely smiled. He would sit in his room for hours, playing quietly by himself. One evening, Mrs. Miller came into his room to say goodnight. The new nanny, Ms. Agatha, had already put him to bed, but Mrs. Miller felt a pang of guilt, seeing how sad he still was. She sat on the edge of his bed, stroking his hair. "I miss Clara," Leo whispered, his voice barely audible. Mrs. Miller's heart ached. "I know, sweetie," she replied softly. Then, Leo said something that made her blood run cold. "Clara didn't take your shiny necklace." "I know where it is." Mrs. Miller stared at him, her heart pounding in her chest. Was this just a child's fantasy, a way to bring his beloved nanny back? She asked him, her voice cautious. "What do you mean, Leo? How do you know?" Leo sat up, his eyes serious. He told her that on the morning the necklace went missing, he was playing with his favorite toy, a little red race car. He was playing a game of hide-and-seek with it. He saw the sparkly necklace on his mama's dresser and thought it would be the perfect treasure for his car to find. "So, è tutto italiano?" He described how he carefully wrapped the diamond necklace around his little red car and then, looking for the best hiding spot ever, he tucked the car deep inside the pocket of his father's old winter coat, which was hanging at the very back of the hall closet. A coat no one had touched in months. Mrs. Miller's world tilted on its axis. It couldn't be. Could the explanation really be that simple? That innocent? She rushed to the hall closet, her hands trembling as she pushed past the other coats. There it was, the old winter coat. She plunged her hand into the pocket, her fingers fumbling. And then she felt it, the cold metal of the toy car, and wrapped around it. The unmistakable feel of her diamond necklace. She pulled it out, the diamonds glittering under the dim light of the hallway. It was real. Leo had been telling the truth. A wave of shame and regret so powerful it almost knocked her over washed through Mrs. Miller. They had accused an innocent woman. They had destroyed the life of someone who had been nothing but loyal and loving to their family, all because they had refused to listen, refused to consider any other possibility. They had let their panic and suspicion override years of trust. The next morning, Mr. and Mrs. Miller sat Leo down. With tears in their eyes, they apologized. They apologized for not listening to him, and they apologized for what they had done to Clara. The weight of their mistake was crushing. Finding Clara wasn't easy. She had moved, changed her number, trying to start a new life away from the painful memories. But the Millers were determined. They hired a private investigator, sparing no expense to right their terrible wrong. Finally, they found her. She was working at a small daycare center across town. When the Millers appeared at her doorstep, Clara's face was guarded, her eyes full of the hurt they had inflicted. But then they began to speak. They didn't make excuses. They confessed their terrible mistake. Their voices choked with remorse. They showed her the necklace, wrapped around the little red toy car. They told her what Leo had said, and how he missed her every single day. They offered her a sincere, heartfelt apology, begging for her forgiveness. They also offered her a substantial sum of money, not as a payment, but as a small token of their profound regret for the hardship and emotional pain they had caused her. And then they asked the most important question. Will you come back? Leo needs you. We need you. Clara looked at them, and for the first time in a month, she saw the family she had once loved. She saw their genuine remorse, and she thought of Leo, the little boy who held a special place in her heart. Slowly, a small smile touched her lips. She forgave them. Clarice's return was like the sun breaking through the clouds. The moment Leo saw her, he let out a cry of pure joy and ran into her arms. The laughter and warmth returned to the Miller household, brighter than ever before. The Millers learned a lesson they would never forget. Trust is fragile, and the truth can often be found in the most unexpected places, sometimes in the innocent words of a child. This story reminds us to listen, to have a fight, and to never be too quick to judge. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that makes you think. We'll see you in the next video.